The 2023 Exercise Patient Convention of the Jehovah's Witnesses is quite culty, and this program isn't the exception. The Saturday morning session kicks off with the usual music videos that show people being indoctrinated into the cult. We'll skip them to start with the laziest way to fill up a convention program, a symposium, and they begin by adding meaning to Bible verses.
You know, Jesus may have illustrated that need for persistence and patience in the conversation that he had with Peter. Do you remember it? It's found in Luke chapter 4. There, on that occasion, Jesus compared preaching to fishing. And notice what he said to Peter. Giving him a lesson, verse 4 says, "But Jesus said to Peter, 'Pull out to where it is deep, and let down your nets for a catch.'" Now, the Bible doesn't say how far Peter was going to have to pull out into the water. But the point was he wasn't going to be able to catch fish right off the shore. He was going to have to move out into the water some. What's the lesson for us? Our preaching, too, is going to require patience. The fish aren't necessarily going to be found in the places most convenient for us, are they? They're often going to be found only after we patiently analyze the best aspects of our territory to find them.
This is the pseudo-intellectual BS Jehovah's Witnesses love to do to the Bible. The story is a common story, the miraculous catch of fish, where Jesus helps Peter catch a miraculously large amount of fish after Peter hadn't been able to get any fish. Peter then recognizes Jesus' power and kneels in front of him, to which Jesus tells him that he'd make him good at catching men. Not the gay way, just proselytizing. That's the story. Jehovah's Witnesses take a random, out-of-context detail and give it the meaning that the religion wants in a pseudo-intellectual attempt at validating their views. So they can make a Bible verse say anything like, "Did you notice how Peter was wearing sandals? Oh, that shows how Peter was ready to go preach instead of being barefoot at home watching TV." Or an even more ridiculous one.
Peter's response to Jesus also tells us something. If you look at what Peter responded to Jesus in verse 5, it says, "In reply, Simon said, 'Instructor, we toiled all night, but at your bidding, I will lower the nets.'" Did you notice that Peter said we toiled all night? He didn't say we toiled all day. Why? Because as an experienced fisherman, Peter understood that the fish tended to be most active late at night and early in the morning, and so that's when the fishermen had to be most active. He had to patiently consider the needs and circumstances. What's the lesson for us? Again, we might not find it the most effective to preach when it's convenient for us, but when people are at home, when they're most likely to be receptive to the message of the good news. So again, patience is needed. See, in just these few adjustments, both where and when we preach, we can sometimes be more successful because of patience.
The verse said nothing about patience or about the appropriate time to fish. It's just a random detail that Jehovah's Witnesses have given meaning out of thin air. And why? Well, because it fits with the narrative of the religion. Jehovah's Witnesses do this all the time. They take a detail like this and add whatever meaning they need, in this case, patience, to inject their culty narrative into the Bible and pretend it's all Bible-based when it's not. That's why their theology falls apart as soon as you examine it with critical thinking. And once you start seeing that some of their doctrines aren't really based in the Bible, you realize that none of their doctrines are actually based on the Bible. They only pretend they are. Like this preacher is going to pretend canvassing door to door is also in the story of the miraculous catch of fish.
But you know, there's some other lesson that we can learn from what Peter said on that occasion when he said, "We toiled all night and we caught nothing." What do you think Peter would have done if Jesus had not intervened on that occasion? Do you think Peter would have just gone home, hung up his fishing net, decided, this is not for me? No. Do you think Peter would have decided, there must not be any more fish in the sea? No. Peter would not have drawn that conclusion for one good reason. Because Peter didn't see himself as a man trying to fish. Peter was a fisherman. That was his vocation. So regardless of what happened on that night, Peter would be back out fishing again. What's the lesson for us? We don't see ourselves as people who are just taking a stab at preaching the good news, do we? We are preachers of the good news. That is our vocation. So, preaching just becomes one of the tools of the trade, an important tool of the trade. So we don't conclude because of bad experience that we are unsuccessful as preachers of the good news, nor do we conclude that there are no more fish in the figurative sea.
That is 90% of Jehovah's Witnesses' doctrine, by the way. And it's really annoying because it's so obvious when you're not a Jehovah's Witness, but flies completely unnoticed to Jehovah's Witnesses because to them, as long as it perpetuates the narrative of the cult, it's okay. But now we're going to revisit Olivia, Wet Blanket, and all the other characters of the previous convention in a series of dramatizations that shows just how culty and controlling family life is when you're part of the cult.
Hey, Gabe.
Oh, hey, Olivia. How's it going?
It's going good. Just doing another letter writing territory, so you know how that is.
Okay, well.
Hey, Gabe. Good to see you.
Hey, Sue. It's good to see you, too.
Is that Gabe? Oh, hey, baby. How's Bethel?
Hey, Mom. It's busy, but great. I'm learning a lot.
Oh, look who just got home from work.
Hey, Gabe.
Hey, Max. So, if it's possible, can you send me some more of my things? I can text you a list.
Absolutely. I'll get right on it.
Great. Thank you so much. Olivia, I'll let you get back to letter writing.
Great.
Hey. All right, we'll let you go. Love you.
Okay. Love you, too.
Hi.
Bye.
Bye.
So, Olivia, I thought that you enjoyed letter writing.
I don't know. It just feels like another letter, another envelope, and another black hole.
Black hole?
Yeah, stuff goes in, but nothing ever comes out of it.
It's not that bad.
What do you mean? You were just telling me that no one's responded to you.
Okay. Yeah, I get a little antsy for replies. Like I texted my old classmate, Sarah, but she just hasn't said anything back to me yet. I just hope I didn't overdo it. What do you think? Is it too much? Do you think it's too much? It's too much.
Sure she'll get back to you.
This is a totally normal interaction between Jehovah's Witnesses. Letter writing is a completely tedious and pointless activity, just like preaching door to door. But Jehovah's Witnesses are taught to do it despite not having even one single example of someone converting due to a letter in the 3 years that millions of Jehovah's Witnesses have been doing it. And Wet Blanket's problem isn't only that Olivia is finding this tedious task tedious. His problems are just starting.
All right. Is everything on Gabe's list?
Thank you.
At least we'll have a little more room for when your mom moves in.
Yeah. Anyway, Gabe will love this. He already told me how much he misses fishing.
What if we do something a little different for family worship this week?
Sure.
So, this is where you and Gabe would fish, right?
Yep. We learned a lot of lessons about fishing here. So lately, preaching's felt like a black hole, right? We have the right equipment, but what does a fisherman need more than anything? Second Corinthians 6:4. It says, but in every way we recommend ourselves as God's ministers by... Now what does verse 6 say, Olivia?
It says by purity, by knowledge, by patience.
Patience. It helps us to keep trying again and again, to not give up. And we're not casting into a black hole, but into a blue sea full of deserving ones. Now, maybe we can't see it, but Jehovah knows they're there. And it may take some time, but if we're patient together, we'll find them. Now, Irene's got some great ideas on how to make our letter writing more personal.
Whitblanker reminds his daughters that the issue isn't the antiquated tools that the religion gives them. The issue has to be their attitude. If letter writing feels completely tedious and pointless, it's not because that's just reality. You just need to imagine an ocean filled of people that Jehovah knows they're there over something. If your reality is depressing, just use your imagination to pretend your reality is different.
Teaching Bible students requires patience. Why? In a word, limitations. First of all, the limitations of our students. They may be slow to understand what we're teaching them, and once they do understand it, they may be slow to apply it in their lives. Jesus faced the same challenges when he was teaching his apostles. Let's open our Bibles to John chapter 16, verse 12, and see one of the techniques that he used to deal with their limitations. John 16, verse 12, Jesus said, "I still have many things to say to you, but you are not able to bear them now." Yes, Jesus discerned when the disciples, when the apostles were simply not able to deal with a certain teaching. What did he do? He simply skipped over it. In essence, he told them, it's fine, we'll deal with this later.
This is the main issue when Jehovah's Witnesses finally find someone receptive to their message. They will inevitably find something too culty for them. And the Jehovah's Witness way is to paper over it, hoping that when they think about it again, they're more indoctrinated and less dependent on their rational thinking. And to get there, they're outright told to take their students out of their environment to make sure their religion is the only refuge they have.
So it takes patience for us to help the student to get on our side and work with us in fighting against these false teachings, these false beliefs, false practices that they've been told all their lives. It takes patience and time for them to join us in this fight. But there's another key aspect of this illustration. Look again at verse 4, the latter phrase that we read there, that these weapons that we have, they're powerful by God for overturning strongly entrenched things. Now, the study note for 2 Corinthians 10, verse 4, shows that the word picture that Paul is using is the idea of overturning or toppling a mighty or powerful fortress. And the fortress, of course, representing these beliefs and practices that are opposed to God. How is patience involved? Remember, the student lives in the fortress. So if we are in a mad rush to try to tear that fortress down, we're just tearing it down right on top of their head. We have to help them to get out of the fortress, to run to Jehovah as their refuge, and then we can work with them to overturn these strongly entrenched things, all the beliefs and practices that they've been told all their lives.
Studying the Bible with a Jehovah's Witness isn't about studying the Bible. It's about convincing the students that the Jehovah's Witnesses' ways are the only right ways. And if it wasn't clear from the beginning, they have Olivia face the same issue.
All ready for section 2, right?
Guess so.
Okay. Well, first, we'll see how false religion gets God totally wrong. Did you get a chance to study?
Yeah, I read ahead.
Okay. Is everything okay?
I'm fine. Let's just get started.
Okay. So then we'll watch a video on churches during World War II and why Jehovah will have no choice but to... Something's up. What's wrong?
I don't know. I read that all religions are false.
Well, yeah, but you have to remember that, like...
I don't know. It's just...
What?
It's just all getting so serious.
Well, yeah. It's life and death. Why waste time on this study if she's not going to take it serious?
So you said all of that to her?
No, just the well, yeah part. But I wanted to. She used to be so excited for study. I don't know. Maybe she's just not getting it.
This is overtly culty already. Olivia is shown trying to indoctrinate one of her classmates at school, which is already inappropriate by itself. And then she gets annoyed when her student isn't getting that all religions are false besides Jehovah's Witnesses, because Jehovah's Witnesses don't show any evidence whatsoever to support their arguments. That's why they get annoyed, because questioning any teachings is seen as annoying and as not getting it, because otherwise they would have to acknowledge the possibility that the student is right in questioning those beliefs when they can't explain them. But luckily, this isn't real life. It's a dramatization made to make Jehovah's Witnesses feel inadequate, because this very real problem is going to get resolved in a very unrealistic way.
I think she is learning. Maybe it's just really sinking in.
If it's sinking in, then what's the problem? Maybe it's me.
You know what really helped me when I first started pioneering? I learned that Jesus had to be patient with his disciples. They weren't always ready to learn the things that he was teaching them. That means that we have to be patient with our Bible students too. Let it reach your heart. And be patient with yourself.
I was thinking a lot about our study, and I really wanted to know how you were feeling about it.
As I was reading ahead, it finally hit me. All the churches in the world are lying. My mom's included. And God's just going to destroy them all. You know, maybe I'm just not ready for some of this.
I understand where you're coming from. Give yourself some time to learn why Jehovah's ways are just. The better you get to know him, the more his teachings are gonna touch your heart. Trust me. I promise you it'll be worth the wait.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. So let's get to know Jehovah better. Do you remember?
Olivia here does what Jehovah's Witnesses always do: equate indoctrinating with teaching. Jehovah's Witnesses cannot teach about their religion without trying to indoctrinate. And Olivia here persuades her student to keep the study and outright tells her that it will all make sense once she's had more time for the indoctrination to take effect. This is nonsensical and unrealistic. Despite how culty and manipulative this is, you should remember that Jehovah's Witnesses only convert people in dramatizations like these ones. They can't even keep their own children indoctrinated, much less indoctrinate others who can clearly see this religion for the cult it is.
He's just going to be working even more. I just don't know what to do about it because he's barely home as it is. Are you still listening to me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm so tired. I don't have the support I need, you know?
I know.
And it never seems to end. I don't know why this keeps happening to me. I know it seems that way, but sometimes the decisions you make have consequences that don't go away. Excuse me? Not everyone is perfect like you.
In your perfect life, Irene.
I'm sorry. That's not what I meant. I don't have time for this.
I'm sorry, that's not what I meant.
Everything okay?
Dora just hung up on me.
Well, maybe she was just having a bad day.
Every day is a bad day for Dora. It's not my fault that she married that guy from work. I just wish she would have listened.
Jehovah's Witnesses are extremely judgmental, and that can get in the way of their relationships. In the religion, it's frowned upon when wives complain about their elder husband to others. But when they're married to someone outside the religion, all the blame gets placed on their shoulders. Irene isn't wrong here because she misapplied doctrine. The only thing she did wrong is to say that out loud to her friend. She can think that her friend deserves anything wrong that goes on her marriage. She can even say it to her husband. She just has to hide it better from her friend. That's the hidden lesson here. Blame others, but only when their backs are turned.
She has made some bad decisions, but that was years ago. Don't give up on her.
I'm not giving up on her. I just need a break from her.
I know this isn't easy, but try and imagine what it must be like for her.
And yet, when we reflect on statements like that, we can agree that hope is so important. Why? Because we all deal with suffering and tragic events in one form or another. We can take comfort in learning and knowing that our Heavenly Father Jehovah is not necessarily or uncaring. In fact, if we examine the Bible record, we see that from the very point of rebellion, our Heavenly Father Jehovah put into motion
Makes me think about 1 Thessalonians 5:11. Keep encouraging one another and building one another up, just as you are in fact doing. We can do so much good when we're patient, just like Jehovah is with us.
Hi, Irene.
Hi, Dora.
I was calling because I wanted to apologize for what I said.
I'm sorry, too.
I know that you're dealing with a lot right now.
And I really do see how much you love Jehovah.
I just want you to know I'm always here for you.
Thanks, Irene. That really means a lot to me. You know, I was thinking about going out to service tomorrow.
Would you like to go with me?
I'd love to go.
Great. I have this really cool new return visit. Her name is Katie.
There is literally nothing wrong with Irene's friend. The only thing wrong is that people see her husband is chilling in the background and she feels guilty and shamed because he's comparing himself to others, and others will inevitably judge that her husband is just having a beer, watching TV, instead of being at the meeting. And also, none of this is real even in the dramatization. Irene just imagined it all because, as we said before, Jehovah's Witnesses love to pretend reality is a different thing when they need to keep each other indoctrinated.
Okay, here's a third way for elders to show patience. Train others to take on congregation responsibilities. Thousands of sheep are being added by Jehovah to the flock every week. That's a lot of sheep, and that means more shepherds are needed. And when more shepherds are needed, that means training, right? It takes patience to train someone, doesn't it? And as an elder, when we're training another elder to carry out a certain responsibility, maybe something that we've been doing for many years. We may be used to doing it, may be easy for us. We may not even have to think much about it as we do it. But we have to remember, for someone new, that's not the case. Someone that's just learning something is bound to make some mistakes. We must train, and that requires patience.
One of the things Jehovah's Witnesses are doing to try to keep young people indoctrinated is to train men as young as 20 to become elders in the congregation. Elders usually have a very rigid way of doing the laborious and tedious elder work. So the speaker here is reminding elders to be patient with the fresh adults they're using as elders. And the dramatization shows exactly what goes on in congregations.
So these are our public talk schedules
Hey,
for the
Wayne.
past few years.
Hey, Sister Jones.
Hey, what are you two up to?
Wayne's going to be helping with public talk scheduling.
Oh, great. Well, I'll let y'all get to it.
So, we already have these weeks scheduled. We just need to keep confirming with the speakers and quickly replacing any cancellations. That's pretty important.
I can totally do that. I actually have some new ideas on how to handle that.
Okay, good. But a phone call should be fine.
Don't worry. It's not that hard. I can handle it. Can I show you my idea on how to streamline the process?
More than a phone call?
Yeah. The speaker isn't here.
I'm sorry, what? Did you call and confirm like I asked you to?
No. But what can I do?
Well, nothing now. I'll take care of it. Wayne forgot to confirm the speaker, so I have to give the talk now.
You did a nice job on your part.
Thanks.
I think Wayne just forgot. Hey, Gabe.
Hi, Mom. How you guys doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing good. I'm just checking on the things you were sending me. They haven't come in yet.
Oh, no. That's weird.
That's my fault, Gabe. I completely forgot to send it. I can't believe I missed that.
It's okay. Don't worry
No,
about
it's
it.
not. You needed those things, Gabe.
No, Max, it's fine. Don't worry. I mean, everybody forgets things sometimes. And it's just one package. You and Mom already do so much for me, so don't worry. It's fine.
Thanks.
Thanks, Gabe. I'll get right on it. I gotta make a phone call.
Okay. Things are getting pretty busy around here.
I'm sorry about the mix-up.
It's okay, Wayne. We all forget things sometimes. You know, I want to apologize myself. I didn't mean to lose my patience. I shouldn't have reacted like that at the Kingdom Hall. I'm sorry. You know, when I first got this assignment, I made some mistakes myself.
Really?
Yeah, I really did. So I had scheduled 2 speakers.
So Wet Blanket learns to be patient with his unpaid assistant who is helping him with his fake job. It's telling just how self-important elders come, almost emboldened by their title of elders, even in dramatizations.
Often we measure our patience based on what we do not do. But Jesus showed that we can also measure our patience by what we do. He indicated this by means of an illustration involving an unforgiving slave. Let's watch the video and see how it goes.
I loved how this guy introduced the video. I hope everyone keeps introducing videos like, oh, let's watch the video and see how it goes, while awkwardly looking away. Maybe he knows how unconvincing the beards are gonna look.
That is why the kingdom of the heavens may be likened to a king who wanted to settle accounts with his slaves. When he started to settle them, a man was brought in.
My king. How much does he owe?
Well, 10,000 talents, my king.
Guard! Take him away. Sell him, his family, and everything that he has, and make a payment towards his debt.
Please, my king. No, please, I'm begging you. My king, no, not this. My king, please, be patient with me, and I will pay back everything to you.
I cancel your debt. You can go.
Thank you. Thank you, my king. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so grateful.
Did you notice the reaction of the servant keeping the accounts?
No, but I noticed the voice of Mark Sanderson reading the Bible. This is more and more an overt cult of personality, and they can't resist adding the governing body whenever they can. Let's skip the speaker telling us what we saw to see how the video plays out and rejoice in the amazing acting that can only happen with Holy Spirit.
But that slave went out and found one of his fellow slaves who owed him 100 denarii.
You! I'm talking to you. Where's my money?
I'm sorry, I'm trying.
What have you got here?
Oh, it's just my food.
Wait,
What
There's nothing there. Where is it?
I don't have it. I'm working
Answer
hard
me.
to gather all the money.
Answer me! Pay back whatever you owe! Pay me back!
Be patient with me, and I will pay back.
You're going into prison until you pay back everything you owe. Guards!
I just need
Take
some
him
more
away.
time. No, please, wait. No! I will pay you back.
When his fellow slaves saw what had happened, they became greatly distressed, and they went and reported to their master all the things that had happened.
Guard, bring him to me. Is it true what they're telling me?
Well, the thing is, he owed me money. I was just reclaiming what was mine. My money.
Enough! You wicked slave. I cancelled all that debt for you when you pleaded with me. Should you not also have shown mercy to your fellow slave, as I showed mercy to you? Take him away and throw him into prison until he repays all that he owes.
Let me go. Stop touching me. Let me go.
This is a Jesus parable with an obvious lesson that even Jehovah's Witnesses can't twist. Forgive others if you want to be forgiven. However, Jehovah's Witnesses can use that lesson into making followers feel guilty. To them, this story means that since Jehovah forgave you for the tiny sins you may have done, like masturbating or living a life before you converted, you too should forgive others, especially when they're in the cult with you.
The debt of the first slave represents the enormity of all of our sins, our personal sins, and our inability to pay for them, to atone for them. Think about the enormity of our sins. Some of us have led, before learning the truth, have led some debauched lives. And even after learning the truth, some of us have made some serious mistakes. And on a day-to-day basis, we find ourselves sinning in some small way, perhaps thinking some bad thoughts or saying unkind or harsh things, or even engaging in some uncleanness. And on top of all of that, we've inherited sin from Adam, and what an impact that has had on us. So it's impossible for us to pay that debt. But Jehovah has been patient with us. He's applied the value of the ransom sacrifice of Jesus in our behalf and has forgiven us.
This demeaning attitude is typical of Christians, but it's especially true among Jehovah's Witnesses. They are constantly told that they are nothing, that they don't deserve anything, and that the only value they get comes from serving the cult. This keeps members indoctrinated because it makes them feel they are too dumb or too small to have anything critical to say against the religion.
The small debt of the second slave represents the much smaller sins that are committed against us. It was a doable amount. It was something that could be resolved. Now, what have our brothers done to us that is worth choking the life out of him or throwing him into jail? What have our brothers done to us that is not unresolvable? That is resolvable. Jesus used this contrast to show that we should be able to forgive sins committed against us.
Did you notice how the speaker said we need to forgive our brothers? This lesson of forgiveness is especially strong inside the cult, which leads to Jehovah's Witnesses staying quiet when it comes to reporting sexual abuse, which is one of the many reasons this religion has a giant CSA issue. But now, the speaker is about to almost have a moment of self-realization when he invites others to imagine being the Bible equivalent of a Jehovah's Witness, a Pharisee.
Well, can you imagine what it would be like to be a Pharisee? Kind of a somber life. Let's open our Bibles to Matthew chapter 7, and let's read together verses 1 and 2. And notice what Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount. He says, "Stop judging, that you may not be judged. For with the judgment you are judging, you will be judged. And with the measure that you are measuring out, they will measure out to you." Yes, an alternative rendering to stop judging is stop condemning. Jesus was aware of the human tendency to be judgmental of others, and Pharisees set a bad example in that regard. They judged harshly other individuals who were trying to observe the Mosaic law or even their unscriptural traditions, especially if they failed to do so.
That is exactly what Jehovah's Witnesses do. They judge others. Elders even have a book telling them how to judge and how to prepare themselves to judge, despite Jesus here directly telling people not to judge. But Jehovah's Witnesses can't see the irony because judging is such an innate part of being a Jehovah's Witness that this will fly under the radar for most watching it.
So why would Paul say these things to the Colossian congregation, a congregation he had never visited? Well, he wrote a letter to the Colossian congregation, and it was delivered to them from Rome, where Paul was. It was delivered to them by Tychicus and Onesimus. Onesimus was a runaway slave. He had learned the truth. Perhaps Paul helped him learn the truth in Rome. Now, additionally, Paul gave a letter for Onesimus to deliver to Philemon. Philemon was there in the Colossian congregation, but Philemon was Onesimus' former slave owner. So can you see why Paul said, continue forgiving one another freely? Onesimus obviously was willing to try to work it out with his new brother. And we presume that Philemon was willing to forgive as well. How about us? Are we willing to forgive? Who is our Onesimus?
It is insane to me that they have a black man proclaiming how good it is that the Bible was trying real hard to let former slaves forgive the people who owned them. Like, yes, sure, they own me all my life, but I think about sexy butts sometimes, so I should be forgiven. And look, I believe people should be forgiven. I believe almost everyone can be rehabilitated. But this has to be the worst example to ask for forgiveness, isn't it?
Since its inception in 2014, the School for Kingdom Evangelizers has accomplished much good in the worldwide field. This 2-month school is designed to train experienced pioneers who are willing to serve wherever they're needed. And while many have eagerly reached out for this opportunity, others hold back. Why? Some might reason, I'm content where I am. I have a good job that supports my pioneering. I'm needed in the congregation. I could be sent anywhere. I hate moving. I'm not smart enough. My circumstances don't allow it. They don't need me. There are plenty of others who can reach out. Well, can you relate to any of these feelings? The governing body understands. It's not easy to uproot oneself and venture into the unknown. But before you dismiss applying for SKE, there's a beautiful reason why you should consider it. What is it? To find out, we warmly invite you to come to the SKE meeting during the noon hour tomorrow. We hope you can make it.
The School for Kingdom Evangelizers is just a deep indoctrination course that Jehovah's Witnesses in good standing can take so they can be sent to straighten pretty much any congregation that needs help around the world. Stephen Led is here to remind you that no excuse is a good excuse to avoid uprooting your life and go wherever his religion sends you.
So, why is patience needed? Well, if we think about it, what is our strongest wish? We want our unbelieving relatives to come to love Jehovah and get into the truth. This is our sincere wish. But now, what is their sincere wish? They might want us not to become one of Jehovah's Witnesses because they have their own sincere religious beliefs, or simply they have received the wrong information from the wrong people. So we should try and see matters from their perspective too.
This is the only reason why Jehovah's Witnesses maintain contact with their families when they're not part of the cult, because they hope to indoctrinate them into the cult, and they either get indoctrinated or have their own wrong beliefs. That's how Jehovah's Witnesses, or any other high control group, looks at the outside world, as being worthy of interaction only if the cult can benefit in some way, never out of simple love or personal interest.
Mom, let me carry that.
I got it, Irene. You know, I'm not that old. I got it.
You know, I really like that doctor.
What was he, 15? You know, he's not going to be practicing on me.
I'm gonna keep packing your stuff, okay?
Okay, dear. Irene, don't forget my therapy appointment on Wednesday morning.
I can't on Wednesday. Let me ask Elena.
I just need you to finish filling out the second page here, and then sign and date at the bottom, and then we'll be good to go.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. What do you need, Irene?
Hello to you too.
Mom needs you to take her to an appointment on Wednesday.
No, I can't. Can you skip your preaching thing or whatever?
I have to work at a real job.
I've had my hands full. I just need a little more help.
Please. I'll see what I can do, but no promises.
Look, I gotta go.
Well, I can tell Elena's not going to be much help, but I'll figure it out.
You know, your sister had a tough year. You should study with her.
You know, we have tried so many times. She doesn't want to study.
I think you're just too hard on her, Irene.
Hey, I swapped shifts so I could take Mom on Wednesday. You owe me, little Miss Righteous.
Maybe she would study.
What, Elena? There's nothing I can do.
Weren't you close growing up? Grandma thinks you can reach her heart.
Yeah, well, Grandma also thinks she can live on her own.
Okay. I know you tried, but just don't stop trying, okay?
Okay.
Did you notice how forgetful Grandma's getting?
Yeah. With all humility and mildness, with patience, putting up with one another in love.
Thank you. No problem. You're the best. What did I do wrong now?
Nothing. I just wanted to say thank you.
And?
And how are you doing?
I really miss talking to my little sister.
No judgment?
No judgment.
Okay. I don't know if you know this,
But I went to see Mom the other day. She was taking out pictures of us when we were kids.
Once again, Jehovah's Witnesses are reminded that to indoctrinate other people, they need to reach their hearts, not just educate them. And the only reason why they should communicate at all is to make sure they can approach the cult. That's the ulterior motive that Irene is taught to have. Her mom tells her to study with her sister. Then her daughter tells her to study with her sister. Then Irene finally decides to pick up the phone to have a better relationship with her sister so she can be in a better position to preach her. This isn't a dramatization teaching you to be kind to other people because they're your family or because that's the right thing to do. This dramatization is reminding Jehovah's Witnesses outright that the only way they will indoctrinate family is by having a good relationship with them. And I'm not being uncharitable. They literally come out and say it.
Each member of our family is different. They all have their different sensitivities, beliefs. So by being patient and loving, and also by being good listeners, we can look for appropriate opportunities to give a subtle witness. And by being discerning, we can also get good results because we won't be overwhelming our relatives with too much information all at once. It would be like pouring an entire bucket of water on a tiny little plant. We will kill it. So when a relative expresses a slight interest in the Bible's message, always answer in a way where the door will be kept open for the next opportunity. And even if your initial efforts to share the truth with your relatives are not well received, as we saw in the video, do not give up. Circumstances and attitudes can change. So continue to look for another opportunity to share another point that might awaken their curiosity.
This is why Jehovah's Witnesses don't get along with their family members who aren't in the cult, because they're taught to always be looking for an opportunity to indoctrinate them. But now let's go back to Irene, who's having issues with her mom living with them because her mom is there against her will.
So this is your room here on the right.
This is nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
We'll let you get settled in, okay?
Love you, Grandma.
So, do you want anything else?
Irene, you know this is not what I wanted.
Mom, where's all my kitchen stuff?
We organized and changed out some things.
We?
The girls and I did. You know, it's not your thing, Irene. We decided my stuff is better. You'll see.
Hey, babe. Are you okay?
Max, how many times have I asked you to take your shoes off at the door?
Sorry, I keep forgetting. I was just making sure you were okay.
Just clean, and it's like you don't even care about how hard I work.
Can you pass me the salt, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
These need more than salt. Irene, why didn't you make these homemade?
They are.
I think they're great.
Thanks.
Sorry about earlier.
Yeah, me too. These past few months, I didn't expect them to be so hard. And I'm really sorry about what this is doing to us.
We're in this together. You know, Jehovah sees everything you're doing for your mother. And he's so proud of you.
You can just tell men wrote this. The wife gets mad at her mom because she changed around her kitchen stuff. You know, because changing around her makeup was too unrealistic. Then, when Wet Blanket is inconsiderate to her, it couldn't possibly be his fault. It's because Irene was upset, so she has to apologize for doing nothing wrong. I don't mean to judge anyone who decides to take care of their mother, obviously, but Jehovah's Witnesses always behave and act like they know better. And I can't help but feel that that's what we're seeing at display here. With Irene getting her mom to live with her against her wishes, then getting upset because her mom wanted to store her kitchen stuff in the kitchen she's forced to live in now. But now let's jump into the next part of this disgusting cult propaganda, which is all about child indoctrination.
That takes patience to get the love for Jehovah God into a child's heart. It takes patience to help a child see that Jehovah is a person
and to appreciate the person behind the name. It takes patience to turn thoughts into feelings, to understand that every happy moment in life is a precious gift from Jehovah God. It takes patience to help a child be grateful, to expect nothing, but to appreciate everything. The picture painted in Deuteronomy chapter 6 is not a rigid picture of a school-like setting. No, if the love of God is in a parent's heart, then throughout the day, talk about Jehovah will be natural. Talking about Jehovah makes us happy. Talking about Jehovah makes our children happy. And it certainly makes Jehovah's happy.
Jehovah's Witnesses are told they should indoctrinate their kids at every moment because that makes them happy, which is obviously not the case. They're being manipulated into manipulating their children, and to feel guilty when they inevitably don't feel happy about indoctrinating their kids, whether because the indoctrination makes no sense or because there's nothing more boring to a child than Jehovah's Witness rhetoric. But it's not just about indoctrinating children. Jehovah's Witnesses are taught to be extremely controlling parents, even when their kids are all grown up.
Hey, thanks for getting me.
Yeah, anytime. How was work?
It was good.
Yeah.
It was long.
Hey, do you know him?
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Man, so glad I caught you. So, I wanted to get your phone number just in case any work stuff comes up after hours, you know? Is that okay?
Yeah, okay. It's 646-480-6649.
Okay, I got it. If anything comes up, I'll be sure to give you a shout, all right?
Okay, cool. See
Okay.
you tomorrow.
All right, see you all. Hey, actually, I was about to grab something to eat, and I wanted to see if you wanted to come with me.
No thanks. We've really got to get going.
Next time for sure, then. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
What was that all about?
It's nothing.
I hope not.
Trust me, it's nothing.
I can guess who that is.
Who's that?
Just a doctor from work.
Wow, he's persistent.
He's persistent? Wait, is he interested in you?
I guess.
When were you going to tell me about this?
There's nothing to tell.
You told him no, right?
I haven't. I don't.
Wait, you haven't told him no?
No, not yet.
I've taught you better than that. You know you have to be firm from the start.
It's not that simple.
It is that simple, and you need to do it now. Hey, I'm sorry. I overreacted. I want you to know I do trust you. I've never had a reason not to.
I know. But I'm not a teenager anymore.
You're not, but I'm always going to be your dad. And dads worry about their kids. It's just part of the job.
I really need this job to pioneer. What if he doesn't take it well?
That could happen. But then you'll get to see what Jehovah will do.
I'll talk with him tomorrow.
Is there anything I can do to help?
Maybe say a prayer for me?
I'd love to.
Here, Wet Blanket is shown to be in the wrong just because he raised his voice, not because of the way he was treating his grown-up daughter. It's implied that this may have been appropriate when she was younger, and this kind of authoritative and controlling parenting is typical of Jehovah's Witness parents who become controlling out of fear that their kids will do something to get them outside the religion and therefore in need of shunning. Notice how they didn't read anything from the Bible, because there's nothing preventing her seeing this guy from work or even dating him if that's what she wanted. It's all about control. The cult controls parents so the parents can control their kids, even if their kids are adults with jobs. But now let's skip the boring speech to go straight into the next part of the drama, where we see Irene is still suffering because she needs to take care of her mom, she decided.
Mom, do you want some fresh air? There you go.
I'm getting hot. I got it.
Mom, okay. Mom, it's not time to take your pills. Mom, it's not time.
I want to take my pills.
It's not time.
I want to take my pills.
Mom, stop.
Irene, I want to take my
Mom.
pills.
Do you know how long it takes me to do this?
I'm not taking those dirty pills.
Mom, why do you have to make everything so hard?
I'm sorry. Maybe it won't be so difficult for you when I'm gone.
Mom, I know this is hard for you. It's hard for the both of us.
I don't know how to make it any better.
I know. But I love you. And I want to do this for you.
I love you too, Irene.
Psalm 71:14 says, "But as for me, I will continue to wait." When we're patient, good things happen. We preach. We help each other do what's right. We take care of the people we love. And we give Jehovah time to bless our patience.
Thank you. I just got back from service.
Hey, Lena.
Hey.
What's going on?
Well, I got this in the mail. Do you have time to talk?
Sure.
Irene's mom, first of all, looks nothing like Irene, and second, is comically adversarial against her. The conflict is so artificial and badly acted that there's barely anything left for me to deconstruct. And I bet you didn't expect the Marvel after credits scene where Irene's sister gets a creepy letter and that somehow means Jehovah has blessed Irene, cause her sister now wants to talk about Jehovah's Witnesses. Cause, you also couldn't resist a cult who was sending you creepy letters on the mail. And now all that's left of this convention is the baptism speech. The very boring speech given to the mostly prepubescent kids who are about to succumb to peer pressure and forever dedicate their young lives to the cult.
Are you happy? Might be a little nervous right now. But are you truly happy? Well, as servants of Jehovah, we can truly say that we are the happiest people on the face of this earth. Now, it's not because of anything we have done, but it's because of who we know and who we serve. The happy God, Jehovah. And that's why even in this world that's full of bad news and rampant with sadness, we have many reasons to be happy. And today we are extremely happy because of you, dear baptism candidates.
Jehovah's Witnesses are told they're happy, but nothing can be further from the truth. Most Jehovah's Witnesses I ever knew had issues with depression and anxiety, and they're weighed down by their religion. They just don't know it because they keep being gaslit into believing they're the happiest people in the world, and if they're suffering, well, that must mean it's even worse out there. And since this is a speech for people dedicating their lives to the cult, there's nothing like a good culty reminder of the things they have to do to fit in.
But now you must put them all away from you: wrath, anger, badness, abusive speech, and obscene talk out of your mouth. So what we learn here is a perfect remedy for any spots of this world. What the Bible says here is that we must remove it, get it out of our minds, out of our hearts. And one way we can do that, or three ways we can do that, is this. First, avoid any unnecessary association with those who use abusive and obscene speech. Second, take full advantage of the power of God's word by reading and meditating on it daily. Third, pray constantly for wisdom and the strength to apply Bible counsel in your life. Now, doing this will certainly help you to avoid being spotted and unclean by obscene speech.
And just like that, baptism candidates are reminded to isolate themselves and spend time indoctrinating themselves as two essential steps to remain in the cult. Let's skip most of this boring and repetitive speech to get to his interviews about the importance of comparing yourself to others.
So what helped you to keep making progress despite that?
Well, I really felt Jehovah reaching out to me in a loving way. One day at school, I met a girl who had such a tremendous zeal and appreciation for the truth, and she wasn't even baptized. I found out that she had a very difficult situation and even faced opposition at home, yet she was fighting so hard to get baptized.
Interesting. So how did that make you feel?
Well, I contrasted her example with my situation. Here I was already baptized. My mom had a deep love for Jehovah and fully supported me in serving him. Her example touched my heart, and it motivated me to want to do more to show my appreciation for the spiritual gift that I had been given.
Well, how did Jehovah help you to do that?
Well, Jehovah never abandoned me. He patiently helped me turn things around. I began to make changes in my association, and I refocused on my spiritual routine and set spiritual goals. Eventually, I changed schools, and I told Jehovah this time I would do things differently. So the first day of my freshman year, the teacher asked each student to stand up and tell the class a little something about themselves. And so I stood up, and I was proud to say, my name is L'Oreal Edens, and I'm one of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Since this lady compared herself to others who were closer to the cult, that gave her the energy to cut the association with her friends at school, change schools, and start over by proclaiming to everyone that she is in a cult first thing. And the guy has a great example of the pressures he faced when his family wanted to spend time with him. But they refused to become Jehovah's Witnesses, so that's out of the question.
What pressure did you face shortly after your baptism, Brother Gardner?
Mine was association with family. My wife and I moved back to our hometown specifically to be with family after living out of state for 9 years. Shortly after arriving, we got baptized. And so being with such a large family in the area, there was a constant pressure, invitations to be with family. We loved our family. We spent time with them, but they're a little rowdy, so we had to limit our association with them. And that left a large void, and we were lonely at times.
Did everyone react the same?
No, my dad was really upset. Being one of 9, the only time the family got together was the holidays. He put us all through Catholic school, and I became a witness, so he was ashamed. He told family and friends that I was a pretty rotten son for a while.
That must have been really difficult. But what helped you to keep making progress despite that?
Doing what we're supposed to be doing, what we're encouraged to do, being at all the meetings, being out in service, family worship, Bible reading. That stabilized us and gave us some joy as a family. And then being patient. We know Jehovah is going to take care of us. We just had to wait.
Good. So were you able to mend things with your father?
Yes. I realized he loved me. I loved him. It was a matter of spending time. So I went out of my way to really spend some time with him outside of the holidays and being patient. It took a couple years, but we got back to a nice, solid, good relationship.
Well, that's nice to hear. And what about the loneliness? How did Jehovah help you and your family with that?
Jesus' words at 1929 rang true for us. We left fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers, but Jehovah provided for us. By being active in the congregation, we made so many friends. And on top of that, a strong, large spiritual family brought us in and made us part of theirs. It was such a blessing from Jehovah.
Wonderful.
That's how every high control group thinks. Leave your family and let us become your family. It's even worse that these examples are given to the kids who are about to get baptized to keep them indoctrinated. But thankfully, that's how the Saturday morning session concludes. And I gotta say, this was low-key extremely culty. The Exercise Patient Conventions seems to be like one of those conventions made to reinforce deep indoctrination, teaching followers how to manipulate others into ignoring the red flags about the religion, telling them to judge others, and injecting culty rhetoric into the Bible to make it seem like God wants Jehovah's Witnesses go to door and such. So let me know below, is this the cultiest convention yet? Thank you so much to my supporters. I'm kind of in between jobs right now and it's kind of scary, so I appreciate your support very much, but don't worry, videos will always keep coming. So subscribe if you don't want to miss the Saturday afternoon session of this culty convention.